Fiat currency is money that has no physical backing, such as gold or silver, but is instead created and controlled by a government. Its value derives primarily from public trust and acceptance, as well as from the stability of the economy that issues it. Modern economies rely on fiat currency because it provides greater flexibility and control over monetary policy compared to commodity-based money. However, its stability depends on responsible management by governments and central banks. M2 is a broader measure of the money supply that includes cash, easily accessible deposits, and other liquid assets. It serves as a key indicator for assessing monetary policy and economic stability. Seigniorage is the profit governments earn from creating money. It functions as a kind of hidden tax or revenue source, since the cost of producing money is far lower than its face value. Seigniorage is a powerful tool for governments, but excessive use can undermine economic stability. It is the hidden mechanism behind the dollar's strength and the global ripple effects of U.S. monetary policy. In 1971, President Richard Nixon suspended the convertibility of the U.S. dollar into gold, freeing the United States from the constraints of the gold standard. This historic move transformed the dollar into a fiat currency, a value backed solely by trust and the power of the Federal Reserve. Without the physical limitation of gold, the U.S. gained the ability to create money almost without restraint, an advantage that has shaped the global economy for more than 5 decades. Despite the popular image of printing money, most of America's monetary expansion comes from digital operations. The Federal Reserve creates dollars by purchasing government bonds, liquidity injections that increase the circulation of money. Between 2020 and 2022, the U.S. M2 money supply surged by 40%, rising from $15.4 trillion to $21.7 trillion, adding nearly $6.3 trillion to the economy. By mid-2025, M2 had reached $22 trillion, steadily eroding purchasing power. The creation of dollars generates enormous profits for the United States through seigniorage, the gain from the difference between the cost of producing money and its face value. For example, printing a $100 bill costs just 12 cents. Each year, this hidden tax yields between $50 and $100 billion for the U.S. government. Globally, the consequences are even greater. Economists estimate that the dominance of the dollar drains up to $804 billion annually from the world economy through inflation and debt. The excessive creation of dollars, especially after 2020, has eroded the value of money worldwide. Nearly 80% of all dollars in circulation were created after 2010 without a corresponding increase in goods production. The result is a hidden inflation borne by consumers. For example, $100,000 saved in 2019 is now worth roughly $65,000 in real terms, a 35% loss in purchasing power. Since 1971, the United States has accumulated over $15 trillion in trade deficits, importing goods such as oil, electronics, and food. In exchange, its trading partners receive dollars, sums that are often recycled into U.S. bonds or assets. This system allows the U.S. to overconsume while exporting inflation to the rest of the world. In 2022, Turkey experienced 80% inflation, while Argentina's currency lost 50% of its value against the dollar, extreme examples of the instability caused by global dependence on the greenback. The global consequences of this monetary policy are poverty and debt in emerging markets. Countries such as Sri Lanka and Pakistan have faced debt crises as the dollar's appreciation increased the cost of imports and borrowing. Dollar-driven inflation has pushed millions into poverty, especially in nations dependent on imported food and fuel. Meanwhile, restrictive monetary policies, with central banks forced to raise interest rates to stabilize their currencies, have stifled economic growth across much of the developing world. The United States lives under the illusion of stability. Despite a national debt exceeding $34 trillion, about 123% of GDP, the dollar remains dominant. 88% of global foreign exchange transactions are conducted in U.S. dollars. 57.8% of central bank reserves worldwide are held in dollars, IMF data, 2024. $6.63 trillion in foreign dollar reserves fuel global lending. This dollar supremacy creates a profound inequality. The U.S. can finance deficits, punish adversaries through sanctions, and borrow at historically low interest rates, while the rest of the world pays the price through inflation. The dominance of the U.S. dollar is facing growing challenges. The BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, are exploring alternative systems, such as currencies backed by underlying trade values, while China is promoting the yuan for international transactions. However, replacing the dollar is no easy task. Its deep liquidity, stability, and global trust still make it virtually unrivaled in the world economy. The power of the dollar grants the United States unprecedented economic flexibility, yet it shifts the burden of inflation and instability onto the rest of the world. As money creation continues unchecked, one question remains: can the global economy withstand the weight of the dollar's illusion? A shift toward a multipolar currency system now appears inevitable. For economists, policymakers, and citizens alike, the answer will shape the stability of the global financial order for generations to come. Data for this analysis were drawn from the U.S. Federal Reserve, the IMF, the World Bank, the Bank for International Settlements, BS, and trade deficit reports from the U.S. Department of Commerce. If you want reliable and well-documented geopolitical analyses without filters or propaganda, visit Geopolitics-news-gr. Subscribe to receive the most critical news and strategic insights directly to your email. Support our efforts so we can continue producing independent, free, and high-quality journalism. Together, we decode the chaos and see beyond the lines of events.